Hey guys, welcome back to LOI Fan TV. We're back for a jumbo video today. We have a Europa Conference League preview, we have two league games, and we have two FAI Cup Semi Finals to preview and predict. So yeah, I'm joined by Ross McGuire, who's got hacking fever, haven't you, Ross?
Hacking fever is right, Luke. Yeah, hacking fever is right.
We joined this call, and I was like, "Jeepers, now this is a chance for you. Now 10th in the league." He's like, "What? They're second." I was like, "What? No, they're not. They lost 4-0 to Hammerby there a week ago." And I went on. I was like, "Am I looking at something wrong?" And he looks at the screen and says, "Jesus, I'm looking at their women's team."
Oh, I was
I
thinking,
hope Joey O'Brien's more prepared than you are.
yeah, hopefully, yeah. Jeez, I was thinking they're doing all right now. I remember looking at this earlier on the season, and they were down bottom half, and then geez, they pulled it back together in a big time. But now the women's fixture, I don't know, Google search, fucking autocorrect or something like jumping the gun.
Jumping the gun is right. So I suppose we'll start there. So yeah, look, Shelbourne's Europa Conference League phase debut game at Tallaght Stadium against Häcken of Sweden. And look, they're 10th place in a 16-team league. They won 2-0 there in the weekend, but the week before that, as I said, they lost 4-0 to Hammerby. So yeah, I don't think they're one of these teams I was looking at as well. If you score the first goal against them, the odds heavily stacked against them, coming out with a good result from the game. So surely that must be the aim here. This is one of the more winnable ones.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess the home games for Shels, Bar Palace, the other two are probably on paper kind of winnable enough. Swedish league, obviously, it is a good standard of football. Probably be considered a bit better than the League of Ireland, obviously,
Yeah.
just in terms of finances and player growth and things like that. So it's going to be a very, very tough fixture. I'm expecting a kind of a tight game. Obviously, Shells have been quite inconsistent as of late, but I suppose in Europe, they've been quite good. I think obviously losing to Carabag, but put in a decent shift in there. Obviously, a quality side doing well in the Champions League now, and losing to Raji give up pushing the Croatian champions all the way. So very, very promising. Obviously, did a professional job on infield both times as well. So on the European front, it's been very positive, and obviously it's a massive occasion. First kind of group stage game for Shells in their history in Europe. So it's a massive occasion, and it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. Can't wait for it. Obviously, in Tala, so different dynamic to what Shells are used to, and be interesting to see if that's like a bit of an adjustment for them. But I'm feeling positive, kind of optimistic going into it. I think the players probably, as you touched on, have been inconsistent in the league so far. Is that all building towards this? Will this make it worthwhile? We need to make this stick now in the conference league. We need to pick up some results, and it's a good opportunity to at least get a point on the board. You'd feel.
100%. Yeah, it's a great way to start out. It'd be a bit of an occasion. I think it'd be a bit nervy at times for Shells, but look, these are no great shakes in the grand scheme of things. I know the Swedish league is probably regarded as a better league than the League of Ireland, but on the other hand, these fellas are 10th. And as I said, they shipped 4 goals there the other week. So there's no reason why Shells can't get a result, get a pack out Tala. It's a big pitch, but then again, Shells, as we've alluded to, probably play one of the best. They're probably one of the best brands of football in the league as far as kind of their products. So a big pitch in Tala should suit them.
Yeah.
And these lads are obviously aren't filled with confidence, lackluster results. So they'll be coming out to Tala a bit unknown, wondering what Shells are about, and you know they could well underestimate us, or they could well drop points here. I don't see a world in which they win this game, to be honest. Even though when you look on paper, Swedish league versus Irish league, yeah. But on the other hand, I just think that this is such a big occasion for Shells. I think these lads are gonna might sleepwalk into this game, and I think Shells could capitalise.
Yeah, hopefully that's the plan. Hopefully they kind of underestimate us a little bit. But they're probably looking at Shells six in a 10-man league and thinking this should be a walk in the park for us. Maybe that might complacency might sneak in there, but they'll be confident, you'd imagine, coming into it, and thinking that this is an opportunity for them to pick up 3 points. Shells obviously in the kind of projected pots and the projected tables and all that stuff are kind of down towards the bottom. So they will be looking at it as a game that they need to be winning themselves. But yeah, I think Shells, I think we've touched on, obviously it's great to see Henry Francis getting into the team now. I think he'll play a huge part in this European run. And it's just about not making silly errors at the back. And because you just can't get away with it. You can't get away with it in the League of Ireland anymore. We've made so many fatal errors at the back, but especially in Europe against the pedigree player you're playing against, you just can't afford to make silly mistakes defensively and gift teams goals because you just won't get away with it. So that's a big concern. But yeah, massive occasion. I'm really, really looking forward to it now, to be fair.
Yeah, look, you've your season pass, so you'd be in Tala. Where are you sitting in Tala, actually?
I actually need to check. I think I'm in the it's the south stand is the stand with the ultras and all, isn't it? That you usually go
Yeah,
in.
yeah, the one
Yeah, I
behind the
think
goal,
I think I'm in
facing on it.
I think I'm in that. Yeah. I think I'm there.
Nice. No, great seats, great seats. Yeah, look, as far as a prediction for this game goes, I kind of, as you kind of touched off, Shells conceding goals is a problem, but for these boys, conceding goals is also a problem. So I think there could be goals in it. I
Yeah.
think the occasion will drag Shells over the line as far as getting a result. So I'm probably gonna go 2-2 here. I could see a few goals going in.
I was thinking 2-2 myself, and I think when we did our kind of predictions for how each team's going to get on, I think I went for the draw as well, all the way a couple of weeks ago. As we're getting closer, optimism's rising. I'm just going to go for us to sneak it 2-1. Just catch them off. They're going to be a bit cold. They're
You
going to
know,
be.
we have to do here now. We have to do like a Ross projected Conference League expectations versus reality. We go game by game, see you say for every game, and then we'll align the
Let's do the
expectation
same.
versus
Do the same
reality.
for you as well. Do the same for you as well.
Do the same for me. I'm happy out. I'm
Yeah,
happy
yeah.
out.
We'll see how you get on with this next one then.
Listen, all right, well, that's a brilliant segue. I'm glad you worded it that way. So yeah, now look, up next, Shamrock Rovers are playing are out in Prague playing Sparta Prague. Look, these are elite opposition, not elite, but they've were in Champions League group stages last year. They beat Red Bull Salzburg.
Yeah,
And so on. So they took a few big beatings. To be fair, I think Man City really, put five past them and so on.
not
So
shame
look,
in that. Like,
there's no shame in that at all. So look, these boys are tried and tested. Now I'm looking at the league table here. They've played 10 games and they've 25 points. So they've only won eight, drawn two.
that's the
And
men's team, isn't it?
yeah, you'd hope so.
Yeah, not
You'd
the
hope.
women's team.
Listen, Johnny Sexton was out in Tallaght today. It could have been the rugby team.
So, yeah.
Uh,
The women's team are top of their league as well. So yeah, no confusion anyway.
Are they? Yeah. Oh, fair. That's it.
Big club.
Double check. Yeah, look, these are solid. At 1 point clear at the top. Slavia Prague are 1 point behind them. I was actually looking at their route to the group stage. It was not that impressive, I must say. I'm not putting them down here, but like in the first round they play Aktob of Kazakhstan. They beat them 5-2 in aggregate, and then they played Amrabat Armenia. I saw they bet them 4-0 there, and I can't see the other leg here. Oh yeah, 2-1 away, so 6-2 in aggregate. And then in the fourth round, they played Riga of Latvia, 1-2 in the first leg, but lost out in Latvia. So yeah,
Interesting.
look, an interesting enough route to the group phase for them. But yeah, I was even looking at transfer market as well, kind of doing a bit of a deep dive on them. They've spent money, like they've signed a winger from Portugal for 3 million.
Yeah.
Jan Cook, to their star striker from Midtjylland, they signed him for 2 million following a loan spell. He was solid against us. Yeah, they've one or two really good players. So your man Garang Kual, who played at the World Cup for Australia. Remember, he's the youngest ever player to play a Euro World Cup.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
signed from Newcastle. So look, they've good players, and as you kind of
Sold
touched off,
that
the European.
centre half as well, didn't they? I didn't touch on that before. They sold centre half like 10 million or something, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they sold Martin to Bologna for 11 million. They sold their striker uh, Ola Tunji, I think is how you pronounce it, to Real Salt Lake for 2 million, and then they sold the goalie to Ajax, a youngster. So yeah, look, a few wins, a few outs there. It's kind of hard to predict. And these lads play a similar formation to us. Um, so yeah, look, this is a bit of a free hit for us. Obviously we did the European review. And we touched off the three tough games, which were AEK Athens, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Sparta Prague. And you probably have to say that out of those three really tough ones, this is probably the most realistic one of potentially nicking something like the way we did against Rapid Vienna. So it's going to be tough, but yeah, what's your synopsis on it?
Yeah, I think the Rover team that these played against last time, if they're expecting it to be kind of the same as that, I think they could get a couple bit of a surprise. I think you've grown as a team since then, and you've been obviously kind of shrewd in the market. You've brought in some good players, and you're kind of in a different place now, and obviously looking really strong. Obviously, great win against Bows there, get some momentum coming into this one, and it's shown that you can get kind of big results away from home. Obviously, I think that result against the Portuguese team, what was their name again?
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, that's kind of aged well. I think they drew at Benfica recently and stuff like that. Like it's kind of aged quite well, that result. So if you've shown that you can go away and get results, and I think it's going to be, if people kind of write off Rovers in this European campaign, I think they're mad. Like I think they could do really, really well in this. like Sparta Prague, I think could get a little bit of shock by how competitive you are in this tie and how much maybe of the ball you have at times and stuff, and you're kind of comfortable in possession, but comfortable sitting in deep as well. And they've kind of veterans of Europe at this stage, kind of in comparison to Shels, like he's just have players that have been there, done it, and aren't going to be phased by the occasion at all, really. So I am really, really positive about Rovers kind of putting in a really, really good shift there. I think you'll put in a really good performance and it'll be very, very close. I do think they might just nick it, just being at home and just having they will have very good players. Like they will have a very, very strong squad. So I do think they might just nick it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I'm gonna go for Sparta Prague 2-1 on the night. But I think Rovers fans can be a little cautiously optimistic going into this.
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, Sparta Prague are definitely the favourites here. There's no two ways about it. So as I'm looking at the game in 2024 out there, we lost 4-2. Aaron Green scored twice. It was 1-0 them, 1 all us, then 2-1 them, then 2 all us,
The
and then they
tie
got
was kind of dead, wasn't it? Was it 2-0 in
it
the
was it was dead, but at that point, like yeah, it was kind of dead to be fair. But like I'm looking at the players that scored in that day, and your man, the striker who scored the first goal for them, he's moved to the MLS. And obviously Vitic, who started in centre defence that day, he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So they lost players too. I suppose like, if you're looking at that, like that team on paper that we went out with there that day, like you had Leon Pauls in goal, you had you Trevor Clark in the team, you had Aaron Green up top. Um, Gary O'Neill sitting with Darren Nugent. Like, look, our team has undoubtedly got better since then. Ed McGinty coming in, I just think Matt Healy. We'll see it. Like time will tell. Here, he's going to show his class in this campaign. And then obviously Rory Gaffney's back in the fold. They haven't played against Rory Gaffney, so and then obviously Danny Mandreu as well. That's has been firing really well recently too. So look, I'm optimistic. Obviously Josh Honan as well has gone up the level. So I think we have gotten better as a team since we played these last. I know these fellas are top of their league. Um, and they're obviously of really high pedigree. But I don't think I'm delusional here when I say this, but I think there's a real opportunity we can build on. The experience of which we gained last year and go out here and put in a true performance. I'm gonna go 1-1. I'm gonna go. It's like an unbelievable result. I just think we're not going to underestimate them. It'll be similar to Santa Clara. I think we'll use the ball when we need it, but we'll also be comfortable without the ball.
Yeah, I think it's important as well because it's the first your first three games are the three hard ones, aren't they? Like it would be just um a bit of pressure put on those final three games if you come out of the first three with nothing, and it's just like the
Yeah.
pressure's ramped up. Even coming out of it 1, 2 points from those first three would be huge, and then having three kind of winnable games after that could leave you in a really good position. So yeah, I think it's so important that you try and nick a point somewhere along the line. So this is definitely an opportunity to do that. I think. Do you think Burke starts? Probably not.
Well, I think if you're looking at Bohemians, the team to play against Bows, I think Danny Mandrea will play in Burke's spot and he'll bring in Darren Nugent because
Yeah,
it's just be one of these games without the ball.
yeah,
And then I think you bring on a Burke later on when they're tired to do
yeah,
something.
yeah. No, I agree. I agree. So you're going for a 1-1 there, and I'm going 2-1 Sparta Prague, but both going for close enough results there.
Yeah, yeah. No, look, it'd be a good one on Thursday. Are the games happening at the same time? Are they? Because Rovers are on at 8 o'clock. Shelbourne are on.
11:45
I want
maybe.
to see here now. They're on at 8. Oh, so Shells and Rovers are on at the same time.
Yeah,
Not, it's a bit of a sickener. You'd almost rather you can go from game to game,
yeah,
but
yeah. Have watched one before or whatever, and then go into your one or whatever.
yeah.
But any plans for that? Are you watching in just in the gaff? Are you going to
Yeah,
pub?
I'm gonna meet a few Rovers lads and watch it with them. We're targeting to do the AEK game, so this one came a little bit too soon. And look, obviously we had Prague last year and so on. So I think AEK would be more of a football. I think it'd be really kind of an interesting one. Obviously, we touched off some of their players. Luka Jovic, Anthony Martial, and so on. So yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm
good to
targeting.
see.
Yeah, yeah. So I suppose then moving on to league action, back to the bread and butter. On
Yeah,
Friday night, there's two games taking place. First up, we'll start. Well, yeah, we'll start with the big game first. With Derry City are playing host to Sligo Rovers on Friday night. Look, Derry obviously went to Drogheda and got a result to kind of keep them, with a wishing chance of winning the league. Look, it's all done now, but a draw there kind of kept it alive for one more week, anyways. And then obviously Sligo had an outstanding result. Um, at home to, where's that pop up for me?
That's
The St. Pat's, there we go. Sorry, Jada Kiki with the goal there, which has brought them up to seventh on 37 points, 3 points adrift of ninth. So look, they're laughing. This is two teams that are relatively in decent form coming up against each other.
yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Touching on Derry first, I suppose. Decent point in Drogheda, always not the worst one to get. Just keeps them tipping along. They're four clear of Drogheda and fourth. So at this stage, you think Derry should get into Europe at the very least. Like they should be in that top three, I'd imagine, especially because I think Shels, for example, have Dublin derbies galore end of the season. I think they've three left to play. I think but Pats and Bows will have similar as well. So like there's going to be teams taking points off each other left, right, centre. I think Derry could just tip along nicely now into probably into second should be the aim now for them realistically. I saw Michael Duffy signed a new deal till the end of 2028, I think it was. So a new long-term deal for him. So positive signs there. A lot of kind of rumours of unrest though, I suppose, in the dressing room and with Tiernan Lynch. I'm not sure on the ins and outs of that. If anyone has heard more, let us know in the comments. But kind of a few sounds of dressing room unrest and bits and pieces. So kind of an interesting one to keep an eye on maybe over a couple of last few weeks of the season and into the new year. But you'd imagine I could see Turner Lynch maybe doing a bit of a rebuild there over the winter months and getting a couple of new lads in and a few players that suit his style or whatever, and shifting on some kind of dead wood and stuff. So I think for Derry, I think this is a great opportunity to pull further ahead and while other teams aren't playing, it's a great opportunity for them, but it's a very, very tough game. The only thing I'd say is Sligo might just think they're safe now a little bit and start taking the foot off the gas a touch. That's the only thing I'd be slightly worried about from that point of view.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a possibility. And this is almost a free hit for Sligo because they have that breathing,
Yeah.
a 3 point gap. And not that it's anything to rest on, but yeah, from where they came from, it's certainly a much better place. Yeah, Derry's a weird one. It's a very strange one. I saw Michael Duffy sign a new contract there to 2028.
Yeah.
So look, that's a huge player to nail down. Obviously, probably been their best player this season. Um,
100%.
you
Player of the
know,
season, potentially altogether, like
and
in the
potentially,
yeah,
that's why it's like goal, like it's like 8 or 9 goals a piece, goals and assists.
yeah,
So
yeah.
quality player, definitely up there for nomination for PFL Player of the Year. Um, but yeah, like other across the reading things like Diallo and Connolly potentially, and a few others maybe heading towards the exit doors. Um, so yeah, look, obviously they sacked your man the head of recruitment from Derry, so just Tierney should put a stamp on it. He's to put a stamp on the squad and build a squad that's his own. But yeah, as far as this tie goes, I kind of agree with you. I think Sligo will go up here, resting our laurels a little bit, and I think Derry will be edging to. They don't want to kind of drop points and let Rovers win the league that way. I think they'll be like, right lads, let's just keep it alive for a few more days at least, and that's not us be the reason why they win it. So I think Derry will probably win this. I'm gonna go 2-0 Derry.
Yeah, yeah, plus I think the home advantage could be big, and I think Sligo. Not that I think a loss could shake them up down for the rest of the season. I think they still have to play Cork. And there's Shels and Rovers as well. Actually, so maybe they do need to kind of nick something along the line, but they have Cork left as well. You'd fancy them to beat, but um, yeah, I think Sly. Oh, Jada Kiki's is some player. I'm so sick that Shell sold him, like because it just seemed like a no-brainer to loan him out. I think he went to Dundalk the second half of last season. The no-brainer to loan him out there, and then I think loan him out again this season and get him back. Like if you're getting Jada Kiki back, he's borderline like approaching being a £500,000 player nearly at this, like you'd say. Like he's still young. He's an under 21 Ireland setup. He's scoring goals, he's creating goals. I think when they took him off against Kerry in the game, they're 3-0 up and then they ended up losing it. Like he's just so integral to them and he looks as a class above. And obviously at Shells, I think obviously bringing in Harry Wood, Ali Coote, there wasn't that natural role for him to get as much football because he needs to play football. You can see it in him, like how much he's benefited from playing football week in, week out, and he needed that and he wasn't going to get that opportunity at Shells last
Yeah.
season or probably this season either. But I just wish he was out on loan because if you get him back for next year, he's just such a game changer. Like he's if you
Oh.
straight into the starting 11, like
Yeah, definitely. Look, he's probably gonna be one next summer that could move across the water. I think winter is a bit too soon from. But yeah, look, even from Michelle's perspective, you wouldn't probably sign Ellis Chapman in hindsight now, and you
oh
keep
no
him,
way.
So like, yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah, it was a mad decision at the time, but look, hindsight's a great thing.
Even in the
Um,
system as well, kind of the two tens or whatever, like just slot in there, like and rotate with Coote and Wood or whatever, like just be
yeah,
perfect.
yeah, yeah. So, what's your score prediction for this one?
Uh, oof, I'm gonna go for Derry to nick it 2-1, I think. Yeah, yeah, but it could be tight.
Fair, fair. Yeah, I suppose they moved on to the other game on Friday. Managerless Waterford playing host to Drogheda. We're still chasing Europe. So look, there's a bit to unpack here. Obviously, John Coleman called it a day.
Yeah.
Following last week's result against Sligo, against Shelbourne. I'm saying Sligo for. Yeah, so they lost 2-1 to Shelbourne, and John Coleman called it quits. And then obviously, I can't remember the name of their manager. There was caretaker
Matt
last
Lawler,
season.
was it? Or Matt Lawler?
Yeah, Matt Lawler, that's it. And I saw then Mark Yates, and former Ireland underage internationals coming there as well. So yeah, it's just a really kind of volatile environment. If it was the workplace, you'd glass door wouldn't have the highest rating for this club, would it?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think when your man Lawler went in there mid-season after Keith Long left, I think he won 3 or 4 on the bounce or something.
Well, stuff I like that feels like this is what I mean. I said last season. That feels like ages ago. That's like 2 managers ago. Like it's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's mad. It's mad. And I always wondered why maybe he didn't fancy it at the time or something, but I always wondered why they didn't give it to him for the rest, even till the end of the season off the back of that. Like he seemed like he got the
Yeah,
players on board, turning things around, getting picking up results. And obviously 3 or 4 wins in this league at that stage of the season has you back in contention for top half positions and stuff. So they're in big trouble, Waterford. I just can't see where their kind of next win is coming from. Where are they now? They're ninth in the league now in that playoff spot. So it's tough to see. I'm just having a quick look at the rest of their fixtures. They've lost five in the bounce. They've Drogheda, then they've Derry, then they've Pats, and then they've Galway on the final day. So it could really go down to that Galway game as like nearly a playoff for the playoff on that final day, really.
they
Um,
they've lost six on the bounce. They're winless in nine. So like it's very poor. It's very poor, and like I know we've been playing with the idea over the last couple of weeks who could finish ninth, but I think it's really starting to shape up to be Waterford. Like, obviously Galway are resilient enough. They got a good win there, and Sligo they've good players, good young players. Whereas Waterford, like if you look away from the likes of Colin Noonan and Paul Jammond, you look at the rest of the team, you're going. Like if these went down, who is going to stay in the league? Like these lads are probably just venture off to the lower leagues of non-league English football, and it's just not much of a team outside of those two or three. Obviously, Vandy Ball there as well, who's been out with a bit of an injury, but it's just unsustainable. The whole model stinks, and I really do feel like that Waterford could sleepwalk their way into. I think any of the first division teams would fancy playing them, and I think if they went down, I wouldn't fancy them to win the league the next season. I think Cork will win it, and I think they could be in a spot of bother.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I think they could be a long way back for them now, and I think they kind of half deserve to go down nearly with the way it's being done. Like I think they need that wake up call to know this isn't the right model, this isn't the right fit, and just rebuild from there. Because they're a mess. They're a mess at the minute. And yeah, if they go down Paul Jam and probably fancy them to get a move back to a Premier Division side on the lower end of things or whatever, and whoever else sticking around. But yeah, it's not good. Like you can't even think of many off the top of your head. Obviously, Noonan will go back to Rovers, but it's not many that people will be kind of chomping at the bit to pick up. Like no one's gonna be in for Jordan Ross or any of these lads, I don't think. Like so, yeah, it's bad times for Waterford really at the minute. Yeah, they're probably looking for that new manager bounce again to just steer them clear of the drop, and who knows, it could have a bit of an effect. But Drogheda, on the other hand, obviously still tipping away. Had a good week there with tough games in it. Obviously playing Pats, the Pats, Shels, and Derry all in the 1 week, or whatever, and came out, and they're still fourth in the league now. So good position. The thing about Drogheda is still like they're great. Set up, they can set up great against the kind of top sides in the division. Now they're kind of favourites. Now they're the better team here. Can they go and play on that front foot against the Waterford? Or can Waterford with kind of James Olayinka on the break cause some trouble if Drogheda are kind of coming out and trying to play a little bit further higher up and stuff like that? It could just be a little bit dangerous because it is hard to adjust from being that setup where you're having 20% of the ball and you're comfortable out of possession and you're going down every 5 minutes with a head injury and then just kicking lumps into people and kicking the ball out of play. Now the pressure's on to maybe show what you're about a little bit, and let's see if they can do it. It'll be interesting. I kind of fancy them to drop points just because I think they'll have to come out of their comfort zone a little bit, and I think Waterford might at home advantage. I know they're a mess, but just that new manager coming in might put a game plan in place and hit them on the break a bit.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It is definitely a chink in their armor. When they play the lower teams, they definitely do level down in an aspect. But at the same time, I look at the league table here. Like they're on 47 points and fourth. You have Pats, same games played, 32 on 46, and you Shels the game in hand on 31 on 46 as well.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it here. Like if Drogheda win on Friday, like they're going to be level on points with Bows, and they're on 50 points, and like that's huge. Like that nearly, you're looking at them different than with 3 games to go, sitting in fourth.
Yeah.
with that advantage. So I think this is a cup final for them. I think this is really a big game. I don't think that you could kind of a month or two ago you could shape this as, yeah, you could easily drop points here, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think Drogheda are not gonna. They're going to go up there and know exactly what they're going to have to do. And they're going to have to be dirty and probably go to nick a set piece with Keeley or something. But I will do fancy them because Waterford are on the floor at the moment.
Yeah, and Drogheda have Cork after that. Then they've Galway away, which obviously could be big in terms of Galway fighting for the drop, but they're obviously playing one of the weaker teams again. And then they've Bows on the final day. So like in terms of a run in, Drogheda's running is quite nice. Like
Yeah, it is. It is. You'd nearly be looking at that and saying 7 points in the next 3 games, like, and that would probably see them.
yeah.
That put them 7 points. That put them 54 points, which is 9 points ahead of Pats in the same game. So Pats would essentially have to win all their last games to finish 3 points ahead of them.
Not happening.
Um, so I couldn't see that happen. Obviously, Shels with the game in hand in Europe as well. So look, it's in their destiny, which is a testament to Kevin Doherty. So yeah, look here, I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to go 1-0 Drogheda. I think it's going to be a huge win.
Yeah, yeah, fair. I'm gonna go for a draw. I'm gonna go for the bang average standard result of a 1-1. I just think Waterford might have some joy on the break a little bit. Depends who scores first. If Drogheda score first, they'll see it out. No bother for them. They'll just sit in and keep their shape and see it out, and maybe that'll be what it is, and they'll score a header from a corner or something. But I just think Waterford will have to stay in the game here and maybe play Drogheda after their own game a little bit, and just have to have that bit of game management and that bit of know how do they have that in them? Who knows? Paul Jammond can always nick you a goal, so let's see if they can do that. But I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Yeah, so there we have it. There's our league action rounded up. But now moving on to the I was going to say the Sunday games, but I don't think
I think
I think
Patson's Cork's Friday, I think.
on the Friday. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we'll start there. Look, Cork City playing host to St. Pat's. Two clubs that this competition will save their season if they both of them need this. Just to touch off Pats before we get going on the league form, like I honestly think they are out of Europe now. I know they're on the same points, but I'm looking at the fixtures and so on. I think that loss in Sligo is huge. And to be honest, I don't even think they deserve it. I genuinely don't. I think it's disgraceful. If I was a Pats fan, I'd be so angry because it's just looking at them this season. They turn up when it suits them. They turn up in Europe. They turn up in the cup, but they're just shocking week to week. And I think Stephen Kenny's going to have to do a proper clear out there in the off season. And a huge mentality shift. It's almost a bit like Man United, like with them, like it's like this weird mentality thing. No matter how good their squad is, they do this. So, yeah, Cork City. Look, this is not going to be easy. I say they're going to pack out Turner's Cross from this. I said it'll be up for it too.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's gonna be a very, very difficult game for St. Pat's, and like feel like getting to the semi final of the cup is just like they're just taking their eye off the ball in the league now, big time. And I think it's kind of gone for them. I don't see them kind of getting into that top four now. I think they'll probably finish outside, I'd imagine. And rightfully so, as you say. Like I think they've been really poor all season. No consistency, kind of overly reliant on Mason Melia, an 18-year-old, 17, 18-year-old striker, to bail them out of trouble. And yeah, it's just not good enough. And too many passengers there, too many players who fancy it when they want and then don't really aren't arsed half the time. Like, and just think you're better off shifting these lads on. And obviously they have quality, but if they're not going to put it in for you every week, there's no point in keeping them there. So yeah, I think Pats do need a big job, and I think that they probably will turn up here. Like it's very them to turn it on the cup and get to the final, and they'll probably turn up for that as well. I think Cork make it tough for them. Like I do think Cork. Listen, I think they lost to Galway there at the weekend in the league, and that they were already done and dusted anyway. Can they kind of pick themselves up for this enough? And it's hard to kind of see it. Like it's hard for them to just in terms of the quality, even obviously Keating's out and Colin Sullivan's out, and kind of their main attacking threats aren't fit. So it's difficult to see them having enough to do Pats over. I think you'd hope that the atmosphere be the fans be right behind them, and they can hope for a kind of a special night to get to the Aviva. I just think it's going to be a Pats final, Dublin Derby final, and a big kind of showpiece event. I just don't see it going any other way, unfortunately.
They're replaying this, or it goes extra time penalties.
Good question. I'd say extra time penalties. Is it Charity?
Surely, understand in the past.
It
Obviously, it's
used to
been
be replays,
replay.
isn't it? Yeah, yeah, I remember that now.
Used to be the replays. Yeah, look, I'm gonna go a bit against the grain here.
Love
I'm
it.
just looking here. I saw the Pats beat them 4-0 in Inchicore. If this was in Inchicore, I'd nearly go 3-1 Pats, or I'd go a convincing win. But I think this is gonna be they're gonna pack out Turner's Cross, 7,000 people. up there, and I think it's going to be a cauldron. And look, I know they're missing Colin Sullivan and they're missing Roy Keaton, but I think that Keaton would come back for the cup final if they were in it. But they've Shawnee Maguire, they have Alex Onsall got a goal there last week, and they'll Fever Keller, Rory Feely. They still have some decent players, and I think you know it kind of reminds me a bit like kind of like Newcastle and St James's Park. Like we pack out Turner's Cross, they're the 12th man, and I think we're talking about Pats' mentality and how they when it suits them. I don't think. I think if Cork get a goal here, I think this won't suit Pats either, and I think it could go to penalties. So I'm going to go for Cork to win on penalties, 1-0.
Love it. I love that shout. Yeah, I think as you say, actually, it's not long since Cork drew with Rovers. It's not, that was only last week or two, was it? I think. Like sometimes they can get when the fans are behind them and only one goal in it. Sometimes that shed in can kind of really suck the ball in. At times it feels like, and they just pepper the goal. So I think the Pats will come under pressure. I just think they'll have enough personally. I'd love to see Cork do it. To be honest, I don't think either team deserves to be in the final this season, to be honest, based on what they've shown us realistically. But I think Pats will just have enough. Just your Foresters of the world, your Mealia there, you've probably Mulroney. You don't know what you're going to get from him half the time, but Keane Levy. I think there's a couple too many players. I'm going to go for Pats to win 1-0 on the night, I think.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I suppose then moving on to the second game on the Sunday, Shamrock Rovers playing host to Kerry at 6 o'clock, and we'll see Rovers in European action on Thursday in Prague. So it'll probably be a bit of a rotational side for this. Now, despite that, obviously, all the right noises are coming out of the Rovers camp in relation. We can't take these for granted. Colin Healy's done great things since he's come in and so on. So look, obviously Kerry, that's been probably the story of the cup so far. Like they've drawn 1-0 with Treaty there on Friday night, and the week before that they drew with Athlone, and then obviously they're knocking out Sligo and so on. But they're second bottom of the first division, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, because I think
really
Longford picked up a few points as of late and stuff, and they've dropped down. Um, yeah, being realistic about this, it's effectively a buy into the final, isn't it? With no disrespect intended, it's effectively a buy into the final.
it's a dream. Like even if you were going into Kerry, you go, oh, you never not that they beat us, but they make it a tough game down
Yeah,
there.
yeah, they took both pens last year, didn't they? I think in the cup.
That's it, it would be a tight one. And you go, geez, that's a European game. You don't need to go to that Astro and pay away on the Sunday. But here at home, I think we can make, 5, 6, 7 changes and see them off. I don't really see them scoring, to be honest. I think it'll probably we'll get the first goal. We might get the second goal. They might come out and we might get a third goal. So I'm going to go 3-0 Shamrock Rovers.
Because even like Burke will probably start if he doesn't. And like the likes of that. That's who you're rotating. Like that's what you're doing. That's what you're dealing with here.
You'll have the likes of you'll have Burke, you'll have Michael Noonan,
Trevor
you'll have
Clark.
Adam Matthews, you'll have Gary O'Neill. I think even Connor Malley be back for that. So yeah, like more than enough.
Aaron Green and the likes as well, probably gonna run out and stuff.
Maybe, yeah, maybe, and John McGovern as well. So yeah, look, you have options there. I think I'd be shocked and stunned if we lost this in
Yeah, I
any.
think it's a great occasion for Kerry, and hopefully, I don't know if you've heard anything about selling out their allocation or have you, but I think they're like running free buses in the area, like in four different spots of Kerry. They're doing like free buses to the game, and it's great, like for a new club to be able to do that for their fans. It's fantastic, and hopefully this is kind of like springboard for Kerry to kind of push on now as a football club next season and to continue growing and to kind of showpiece event for their season. Um, and yeah, like obviously ninth in the league, but they've had a good year in relative terms, and to get to the cup semi-final is a fantastic achievement for them. Obviously, turning so one of the stories of the season was them beating Sligo in the quarter final. No matter what happens here, it's still one of the stories of the season. So, yeah, hopefully, I'm hoping they can nick a goal. Like even like Longford, looking at Longford, that'll probably give them a little bit of hope that Longford went there and kind of frustrated you a bit. But that was just as we touched on before, like such a flat game. Oasis was on, and Bradley was barely on the touchline himself. His head wasn't even in it. I think Rovers will take it a bit more seriously this time. Cup semi final, you kind of the Vivas in touching distance. I think you just be a bit more tuned in a little bit. So I think they'll be more up for it than the Longford game. But that's a good kind of platform for Kerry to have and a good kind of base for them to build from and just sit in and hopefully it is on the break or whatever and try and keep it tight. And hopefully they can keep it tight and make it a bit of a game. But I'm gonna go for Kerry to nick a goal. Just I think it'd be great for them to get one. But I'm gonna go for 4-1 Rovers, I think.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great platform as well for Kerry to attract players next season to kind of highlight this cup run and Colin Healy saying, look, we're building something. So yeah, no, Jim, as a Rovers fan, it'd be great to see Kerry score. 'Cause I think if they bring up 1,000 fans, it'd be good for them to have that moment. But yeah, look, guys, there we have it. There's our Europa Conference League, League of Ireland, and FAI Cup preview and predictions. Let's try to get to 30 likes this week, lads. Let us know all your talking points that we discussed in the comments below. And yeah, Ross, thanks as always.
Nice, Luke. Thanks for being guys.